So we're here at Studio Lab.
I keep saying it's the new normal.
Time of day doesn't matter anymore.
The possibilities here are endless. We can have all of those locations.
Right.
Brand new box of crayons for the creatives. We're ready to support those crazy ideas.
I'm here with Kingdon, and this is crazy. I've never been to a virtual production studio ever, and I feel like this is something that I needed to do. So thank you for having me.
It's cool, right?
Yeah, this is wild.
Little overwhelming.
It is, but I think it's cool to see how all the tech adds up and creates this environment. I think one of the biggest things for me, since I've never been on one of these sets, is like, why would somebody that owns a production company or even just a filmmaker, why would they want to use a space like this?
Well, I keep saying it's the new normal, right? But that was 20 years ago when budgets just basically fell off a cliff.
Right.
With the advent of, we're just making this for social media.
Yeah.
So we should, slash our budget by 70% because it's not airing.
Yeah.
Which is, completely wrong from a client perspective because it still needs a concept, still needs a team. Now you're shooting probably a 90, if not longer, versus a 30. So, it should cost more, but costs are going down. Budgets need to be stretched. And, when I started in the 40s, the old adage was you couldn't go to LA or New York and take the lens cap off an RE35 film camera for less than $500,000.
Wow.
So then you tack on post, then you tack on original music, you tack on your SAG actors, travel, per diems, and you're inching up into $900,000 for a 30-second spot in 1998. And, now we're getting calls from clients who say we've got to do everything, post, production, talent for 120.
Right.
Right. So the producers generally, in on that kickoff with the account team, and the account team's going through the brief and, key points, takeaways, competitive analysis. And, while they're talking, the producer and the creators are thinking, they got visions of creative sugar plums in their head and it'd be so cool if we were here and here and here and here. And then you get to page 4 of the brief and there's the budget.
Yeah.
And it's, it's a pittance of what could be done or what should be done to basically support the creative. So the agency producer, freelance producer, anybody associated with the production of that project is going to take the creative team aside and say, look, I know this would work great if we were, down on the Santa Monica boardwalk for the first scene. And then we were, at night in the Hollywood Hills with a Hollywood sign in the background. And then we were, back home in an open concept living room. Right. We can't do that.
Right.
We have to shoot locally, one location, preferably already art directed. We can't afford, props. We can't afford, we can't afford everything that would make this spot better. It's depressing, right?
Yeah.
So what if the producer said, you guys, if we do this in virtual production or XR, extended reality, we can have all of those locations for our one-day budget. Brand new box of crayons for the creatives.
Right.
And an exciting new tech tool, creative tool for everybody to experiment with. And that's what's great about Studio Lab. That's what's great about virtual production is allowing creative teams, directors, anybody involved in the creative process to finally concept up to the creative potential of the project versus concepting down to the budget.
Yeah, I think it's great to see that you're able to use a budget that is small and be able to do so many different locations and bring people into these worlds. I mean, I was checking out the real earlier that some samples that you were showing me in the office space looked so realistic. And it was just amazing to see that that was shot here. And then the other thing that you were talking about too, and if you're not watching this, you should watch this right now because you'll be able to see this massive location that we're in. You'll be able to see the studio, the virtual wall behind us, and the robots. And why is it useful to have one of these robots to use for this virtual production?
So for the viewers at home, we have two robots in the scene here. We have the Kira, which is our workhorse, and generally works just here in the studio. However, clients have used it in other studios in Massachusetts. And then we have the Evo, which is much more portable and can go into homes and go into offices because it's lightweight and has amazing capabilities. The Kira, when it's used here, that's why it's primarily here, is it has built-in tracking capabilities. Okay. So when we're doing a full 3D XR world and we're combining physical elements with the virtual elements, as that camera moves on the Kira, the tracking is picked up real time through a server called Disguise, and you get that parallax that you'd get if you were shooting on location.
Okay.
If you didn't have that tracking, and you were just say doing 2D plates versus 3D plates, we recommend that the camera not move much if at all, because it won't look realistic. You won't get that parallax that you get with the Kira, or if you're using a peripheral and using our OptiTrack system. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly efficient too, the Kira, because we generally factor in a pre-light day, and because we're doing multiple scenes, so we're setting the foreground props for, say, the kitchen scene.
Yeah.
Making marks, making sure the lighting is complementary with the virtual world and the time of day. But we're also programming the camera move on the pre-light day, so everything's automated. So on the shoot day, theoretically, all we should be waiting on is talent. We've set the camera moves with the robot on the pre-light day. We've set all the lighting cues. We've made marks for all the physical props, and that's how we get in and out of 4 to 5 locations on average in a 12-hour day.
Which you're never going to do on set, like outside of this. I mean, that's incredible because you're pre-lighting rooms that, I mean, if we were to do that on set for one of our productions in a real location, if you do pre-light, you have to pre-light each room and either leave all the lighting at location, which is pretty close to impossible, especially if you have multiple locations, and you have to take all that time to set it up. And so this is amazing.
And those locations have to be close to each other.
Right.
We can go from Hollywood Boulevard in the morning. We can go to Mann's Chinese Theater before lunch. After lunch, we can go to, K2. We can go to the Alps and finish the day with everybody back at home at their cabin in front of a flickering fire.
Right.
And we can go from morning to evening. We can change our light if the director says, you know what, I think this scene would look better if we were looking at at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Time of day doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't matter anymore. We can have magic hour.
That's great.
Last for all day. We can have everybody be able to see the aurora borealis.
Right.
The possibilities here are endless, literally.
Which is great. I guess the thing that I approach this with, though, is it's expensive. But I think we were talking about this off camera, and
who said it was expensive, Sean?
I'm just thinking it's expensive because, I mean, I've never looked into it, and maybe that's why is I have this I don't know, preconceived notion that this is way too expensive for certain clients or smaller budgets. But maybe that's wrong.
Sean, it is wrong. So let's correct
Yeah,
let's correct the
yeah,
record.
tell me.
Let's set the record
Okay,
straight.
let's see it.
If your concept, if your board is frozen yogurt shop
Okay. Yep.
and all the action is happening in that frozen yogurt shop, then you should find a practical location. You should find a froyo shop
That makes sense.
and shoot there. But if your board, your concept includes multiple locations, froyo shop, dentist's office, kitchen at home, park, that's when virtual production comes in, because we can do 4 to 5 locations in a 12-hour day,
Which is crazy.
when we pre-light.
Yeah.
And there's no company moves. The clients can stay in Video Village. Nobody's getting into 7-passenger vans and scrambling to the next
Trying to find
location
parking.
and base camp and all that. It's all here. It's all climate controlled. It's a microclimate. We're not worried about weather and weather contingencies. That's where virtual production comes in play, and that's where the efficiencies, the cost efficiencies, shine, because you've got your 1-day budget,
Right.
and you're doing 4 locations.
Yeah.
So in that respect, virtual production is less expensive than practical production.
That's a good way to look at it, and a good way to shop it to a client for a production company. If you're like, well, what you want to do is nearly impossible for your budget, but we have a solution. So I guess that makes sense.
I got into this virtual production. I begged and pleaded to work here. They weren't looking for an executive producer. But I was just enamored with the technology. I love the people here. They're so nice. They're so talented. They're so approachable. I work with geniuses. It's like a Mensa meeting. Every day. I was attracted to it based on the reference that I used earlier. When I was an agency producer at Arnold and Mullen and Fuse, where I had to be the bearer of bad news. I had to be the dad who promised the kids summer vacation in Disney World, but then, oh shoot, the water heater in the house failed, and I had to pay for that, and the transmission dropped out. I had to pay for that. It's like, kids, I know I said Disneyland, but all we can really afford is Salisbury Beach.
Yeah.
And oh, Dad, you hate to be in that position,
Right.
but you're the voice of reason. You don't want the creative team to go out and concept a $500,000 concept if we only have 120.
Yeah.
Right. If I was producing and I knew of Studio Lab even existed, which it didn't, I would look like a hero.
Yeah.
To my creative team. I would say, look, you guys can have these multiple locations, photo real. They look incredible. You've seen their work. Let's do it. Let's finally dip our toes into the world of virtual production, extended reality. It's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And everybody's happy, because now you can expand your creative possibilities, and clients happy, agencies happy. We're happy because we're meeting, new clients, and the producer ends up looking good.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I didn't have that, and don't feel sorry for me.
I don't.
Yeah, I know you don't.
And it sounds like you beg to work here, and I kind of want to do the same thing, because it's a pretty sweet spot.
It's very, very, very cool. I am very, very fortunate to be here, and it's just so cool for me, because I started on the production side back in 87,
Yeah.
right? So, super 16 millimeter film, 35 millimeter film, if the budget could allow for it. These tube cameras for our video work, recording to beta.
Hot lights.
Yeah, hot, like real tungsten lights. Fisher 10s and Pee Wee dollies, and to move from film to digital, and now from practical locations or sets to virtual locations and sets. it's remarkable, just how much we've achieved in less than 30 years.
Right.
This is where we are. This is the future, and to be part of that, and introduce it to a region, I think is pretty cool.
It is. And speaking of like the future, has AI affected what you do here, or is it helpful in your workflow? Like, how have you seen AI, because it's moving so fast?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen everything go from simple image generation to now you can make full-on videos with like Sora, VO3. And so how are you utilizing that here at Studio Lab? And do you think it's something that takes away from virtual production or is an addition?
It's a tool. It's another option for AI. We'll, just like in a practical shoot, we'll review the storyboards. We'll have an introductory call with the agency, just to level set on a few things and ask some questions. And then, from there, we'll choose the best approach based on the boards and the creative intent. So I would say right now, 75% of our projects, we're creating the virtual locations, interiors, exteriors, practical, fantastical, in Unreal Engine.
Yep.
So game engine that lends itself perfectly to the creation of amazing 3D photoreal sets to be used in the LED volume. Sometimes, though, AI is the best approach. It's the right tool for that particular request. Case in point, we did a really cool job for the Colossus agency for Gray Whale Gin. And we had to be up and down the California coastline to make a series of cocktail videos for the first wave of this production. And we could use a combination of AI and stock video because the camera really wasn't moving that much. It was the focus and the movement was more on this bartender who was making all these great cocktails, with actual actors in the background, to imply that it was like a party type outdoor environment. And what we did is our artist created a hybrid where the ocean and the cascading waves and the mist were pulled from Shutterstock stock video and combined with an AI terrestrial background, rugged mountains, topiaries, that type of thing. So because the terrestrial environment was generated using AI, we were still able to manipulate that landmass. Can we move these trees look too bunched up? Can we move them apart to spread it out a little bit? Can we move that house on the hill a little further down, make it less prominent? We could do that, and we could do it quickly. So in that case, AI was the right tool, and combined with the stock waves, created an incredibly realistic looking exterior environments. So we're embracing AI. I think we all have to. Where I see the limitations are with the actors, right? So, having worked with actors for 20 years at the agency level, you can't do keystrokes and ask your actor to act apprehensive, approach this dark hallway with apprehension. It's too subtle. It's too nuanced, for an AI actor to replicate.
Right.
You will still need actors, especially for dialogue, especially for comedy, drama. We're not there yet. We do use digital extras.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If we're building a wide scene and we need there to be far background action, we'll use digital extras. We used that for Gray Whale for a pool scene. We used it for another job, for a subway car scene.
Yeah.
We'll have principal actors in the foreground. We'll have extras in the midground, and then the far background. Just to add another dose of realism, we'll use digital extras.
And I think that's useful, especially with budgets now, where people want to do these scenes in a subway.
Yeah.
You have the wall, and then you can create the extras with AI and some virtual production. And now you're cutting down on budget and allowing the same creative to come to life, which is cool.
We don't have to feed the digital extras.
Yeah, that's true too.
We don't have to buy
catering
wardrobe.
Gets cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't have to have, a second AD giving them direction and cues. They do the same repeatable motion over and over and over, and don't have agents, which is great.
Right.
Cut them out.
One thing that you said when we did a pre-interview, which was interesting to me, is how you said the creative is like being in a relationship where you have to manage like relationship with a high maintenance muse. What do you mean by something like that when we're talking about creative and having to push and pull creative a little bit?
I said that?
Yeah.
Wow. It's very poetic.
Yeah, I think what you were referring to is just something about just how things rapidly change, and you have to
right
just be there to always adapt. I mean, in the creative world, we always have to adapt. And like you said, your career in 1987 was different than it is today. So I think, how do you think we keep evolving our creative as we move forward with all of this futuristic stuff, AI? And I mean, there's a lot of people pushing the whole, like, we're not going to need filmmakers anymore. We're not going to need directors. We're not going to need producers. It's like, how do you think, to that statement of this high maintenance relationship with creativity, how do you think we keep moving forward as creatives?
Let me give you an example.
Yep.
And this happens quite often. Is there will be creative director from an agency who is about to go into creative presentation with the clients. So they've got 3 to 4 different concepts. They've got a safe concept.
Yeah.
They've got something in the middle that they think the client's probably going to end up going with.
Yeah.
Right. And they've got some very ambitious ideas. Right. And if the client chooses that, that's great. It's going to cost a little bit more money though. So what will happen is they'll send us that eccentric board and just say, Kenny, before we go to the client tomorrow, if they pick this, can we do it with you guys, virtual production in the volume? And we've had maybe 12 requests like that, and
is this too crazy?
For every one of them, we say yes.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I think that's again, a remarkable tool for the creative community to exercise, because at some point that client's going to go for
the crazy idea.
Because that's what the creative team wants. That's what's going to look better on their reel and in their book, and that's what's going to get the most traction, online and socials, and if it goes to broadcast, and we're ready to support those crazy ideas.
I mean, I feel like that's a tagline to sell your services. It's like, we make crazy ideas come to life, which is very true.
I'll look into copywriting that.
Okay.
Yeah. Right after this.
Yeah, you should do it before this comes out. I think the one thing I wanted to jump into and move forward to is just where you started and how you became to come here to Studio Lab. So like you started as a photographer
Mm-hmm.
in the creative world, and you ended up liking that, but maybe like got burnt out or didn't want to do it anymore. And so then I think you did some sort of retail, and then you decided to get back into production and marketing
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. And so if you could bring me through like where did you see yourself in your career going, and did you think you'd be in a spot like this?
That is a great question. So I've always had artistic inclinations. Started out freehand drawing, and then moving to painting, and mostly abstract painting that confused my parents. Like, what's
That's the
this?
best.
It's like all red with a blue dot in the middle. I don't know. It'll look cool.
Yeah.
And then I conned my dad into getting me this was in the late 70s. Conned him into getting me probably a $700 SLR camera outfit for Christmas,
Sweet.
just as like a dare to see if he would do it.
Nice.
Not that I had any interest in photography.
Great.
And he did it.
Nice.
It's like, oh, all right. Well, now I've got to do something with this. So, started doing like weird color studies. Did a lot of like painting with light and long exposures.
Cool.
And had a lot of fun with it, and won some local exhibitions at a young age, and really didn't have any other college prospects or desires. And so after I graduated from high school, I decided to go to art school in Boston, and went to photography school, New England School of Photography, and focused on areas that I could monetize: portraiture, commercial photography, that type of thing. But what I really wanted to do was more abstract color studies, like basically something that would go in a gallery or a coffee table book at Barnes and Noble. And so worked as a commercial photographer, portrait photographer, wedding photographer. Got bored with that. Thought it'd be cool to be an aerial photographer. So I went in for an interview off the street to a place in Norwood that did aerial photography for real estate companies. They're like, yeah, our assistant photographer just left. This is great timing. So I did aerial photography, learned how to fly a plane, which was kind of cool.
That's
on
sweet.
the job. Worked with this massive camera. It was a Korean War reconnaissance camera.
Is it built into the plane?
No. It was actually, it was handheld, but it was massive because it took 9-inch wide black and white roll film.
Whoa.
So just like, think about that: 9 inches versus 35 millimeter versus even like 4x5, 2.25, the other larger formats. It's 9-inch negatives.
What was it being used for?
Real estate.
Okay.
So
cool.
we'd go up on our jobs, and we'd fly at higher altitudes to plot, say like Burlington, Mass, where this real estate firm is thinking about building an office park or a mall, just to show proximity where the building is intended to be, nearest schools, nearest retail, nearest highways. And then as the project started to develop, we'd do almost like time lapse, but from the plane, just show the steel framing going up, and then the windows and the cladding, and then the finished product. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But also low paying. So I got out of that, dropped out of photography completely, went to Dover, New Hampshire, worked some retail, had some fun.
Yeah.
And then decided that I'd have to come back to Boston. And what I really wanted to do was film and TV production. I dabbled with like a VHS camera that my dad had, and shoot,
That's
funny,
how everybody starts, kind of.
yeah, like funny
Home
little
videos.
skits and crime dramas with my brothers and friends up in Maine. And I just like the immediacy of video, and had every intention of going to Emerson
Hmm.
to study film and TV, but I ended up lucking into the situation with a woman at one of the retail stores that I worked at one of the customers, who needed to have videos produced for a reading program, kindergarten through sixth grade reading program, where they wanted to have video supplements of interviews with the authors and subject matter. And she asked me what I was going to school for. I said, film and TV. She's like, oh, you know how to make videos? And I lied and said, yes.
I mean, that's how you do it, though. You got
Yeah.
to fake it till you make it.
And she hired me as a paid intern to find production companies in
It's
Boston
amazing.
to produce this series. It'd be like a 6-month shoot for, $700,000, and found this company called Videocraft to produce it. Really liked the team there. They did a great job. They shot it documentary style. It was beautiful. Learned a lot on the job. And after that contract ended, Videocraft ended up hiring me as a
Nice.
production assistant, and I worked my way up from production assistant to a coordinator, to production manager, studio manager, and then I figured the next step was the high water mark of film production in Boston, where I wanted to stay because I have family from that area, and my girlfriend at the time had her family from the Boston area, is advertising.
Yeah.
So worked really, really hard for 2 years, just cold calling. And turns out a gaffer friend of mine, his wife was running the broadcast department at Worldwide, which had just landed the Volkswagen Drivers Wanted account. And I got an informational interview with her, and I got an offer like 2 days later, and
That's
so
awesome.
began my odyssey in advertising, and it's been a fantastic ride, So
That's awesome. And I feel like that story of you kind of like, I mean, you lied that you didn't know exactly how to do it, but you have to, I feel like in the creative world, we do that a little bit. Like
mhm,
I've done that
mhm.
where like a client's like, hey, can you do this? I'm like, yeah, we do that all the time. Because I think you have to, in order to adapt and get to the next level, you have to learn as you go.
Confidence plays a huge,
Yeah.
huge part, and arrogance and maybe healthy delusion.
Yeah.
I was saying that I think I made up. Um, how do you know you can't do something if you don't know you can't do it?
It's true.
Right? Like I can make videos,
Yeah.
and you've just convinced yourself of that, and you've convinced yourself that that is going to be your career, and you have a laser focus
Mm.
to achieve that. And a lot of times it's luck,
Yeah.
like with me, just meeting that woman, and one opportunity begetting another opportunity, and just being in the right time at the right place. But knowing from the beginning that I'm going to be a television producer,
Yeah. Well,
and nothing is going to get in my way. And
yeah.
if something does get in my way, I'm just going to flatten it. And that's where I'm going to be, and that's what happened. It you have to sacrifice a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to sacrifice some relationships, because your goal is the most important thing at that time.
Yeah.
And relationships, family, or significant other take a back seat.
Yeah.
So
I think it's also seeing that future, like you saw where you wanted to be. And like, I think a lot of people, they'll look at that where they want to be and they're thinking like, well, I'll start tomorrow. And they keep pushing it off.
yeah,
And like, I think you just have to go for it. And you're never going to, like, people will ask me, like, how do I get into filmmaking? Just go do it.
yeah,
Like,
just go do
you
it.
got to just get into
Yeah.
these creative fields by doing things. Like,
Is self-doubt is an ambition killer.
yeah.
Extraordinary confidence is a career, benefactor, if you will. There's another saying that I didn't make this up. I saw it in the movie Atomic Blonde. Everything you want is on the other side of fear.
I like that.
You just have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to jump out of that plane.
Yeah.
You have to ask that gorgeous girl from your biology class
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
like what's the worst that can happen? She says no,
Yeah.
So, but you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to take that chance. And that's the only way you're going to succeed in a meaningful way.
Yeah. You have to pitch those crazy ideas that you can end up doing on virtual production.
Yeah.
Like, because some clients may think it's insane, but if you can actually hit their number and go over the top with virtual production, I think that's now what I've learned is where you can win is by being able to over deliver by using something like this.
So speaking of clients and their first foray into virtual production, it's been very interesting because we'll get heads up from the agency that the client say there's 4 people that are going to be on set. One of them, like the CMO, is very persnickety, and can be a little difficult on set, slow things down, ask questions, ask for changes, that kind of thing. And so they give us the heads up, like, and maybe some hints of how to manage him or her. We never have to, because they show up in the studio and they see this,
Right.
and they look through the monitors and see how we've expertly blended the practical set pieces with the virtual set pieces. And when they look through the monitor, it looks like they're in that grocery store, they're in that living room, they're in that biotech lab, and it's almost like they're in church. They just quiet down.
Yeah.
They relax. They see that the team knows what the hell they're doing, and we're gonna get through this and do it again.
Yeah.
And it's remarkable. Even those high-strung clients just really appreciate the process and the artistry and the professionalism that they see once they get here.
Yeah, I feel like that happens to a lot of people once they're on a set in general, too. It's like they see how you're making it and they appreciate what you put into it. And I think something like this that's really cool, and what I've learned compared to like a green screen, is that you can actually see it happening. Like you said, they can see the person in the office. And when they're watching it, it looks like that person is in that office in New York City.
Yeah.
And it's incredible to be able to see it live coming together.
And it's a light source.
Right.
The wall is a light source.
Right, which you don't get with green screen. So you get the reflection.
This, the wall came in with perfectly used for that aforementioned gray whale project we did, because we were dealing with clear liquids. We were dealing with cocktail glassware. We were dealing with reflective cocktail shakers and the other tools that the bartender uses. But we welcomed the environment to bleed through into that glass, because that's what you get when you're on location. Right. And we're not trying to block green spill. We couldn't. The client Colossus couldn't have done that job on green screen.
No.
They'd have to either be at multiple locations for a 3-day shoot up and down the California coastline, and be worried about weather, and travel and all that good stuff, or they'd do it here, and they did it here, and then it was just a perfect case study for the magic of virtual production. You know?
I think that's huge, being able to reflect the scene into the actual film and make it feel like it's the real space. I mean, that's something that I look forward to, like trying to pitch to my clients, is we can make a lot of that happen. I mean, the weather thing is so massive, because like we'll do days where we're like, well, this is a weather day in case we can't shoot outside. And so I think that's even bigger than being able to make worlds, is like you now don't have to rely on weather.
Sean, send me boards.
I'm ready.
We'll figure it out.
I'm
Uh,
ready.
we did a quick walkthrough before we started this interview, and you saw our Studio B.
Yeah.
So what's nice about Studio Lab is this is where most of the work, most of the commercial work gets done. Most of short films and episodic TV gets done because
Yeah.
because of the dimensions, because of the space. But we can do a lot in Studio B with the 20 by 12 flat wall,
Right.
and that's a lower day rate, and it's a smaller studio, so it requires less lights. So we're somewhat custom tailored to work within a wide range of budgets.
Mm.
It's just like we were mentioning earlier when we were looking at the boards and we're trying to decide, do we do stock photo plates and keep this 2D? Do we do a combination of AI and stock photo plates? Or because of the camera movement that's required and noted in the boards, do we do this? Do we build the worlds in Unreal Engine and we do this, full 3D with tracking?
Right.
We can do the same thing based on the creative and the concepts and the budget by either doing it here with the Kira, doing it in Studio B with the Evo.
Yeah.
We have an insert stage, Studio C, which is just a hard white site. So if there's a component where they have to shoot stills and video at the same time with, the same client team and the same creative team, we can do that too. So it's very flexible. We can work within a wide range of budgets, just given the flexibility that all three studios provide.
Yeah, and you have a podcast studio, which is awesome.
We have a podcast studio. We have just an amazing recording studio and stage.
I know. I'm
I'll
excited to check that
I'll
out.
show you in a minute. I've worked in sound stages all over the world, and they're basic, right?
Yeah.
Like you're spending most of the time in the studio. It's not a place you want to hang out.
Right.
You come in, you do your job,
And get out.
and then you get out.
Yeah.
Studio Lab, based on the way it's built, the amenities, the creature comforts, and the staff, it's a place you want to linger. You want to just come here and hang out, and we welcome that. Our after we wrap, we tend to linger with the clients,
Yeah.
the production company, and the agencies, just because it's a cool place to hang out, and we have an amazing outdoor space that we call Fire and Gin,
Okay.
which has 3 working fire engines. So we'll go out there and do lunch. We'll go out there and do, our wrap party. The fire engines work, the lights work, the sirens work. So, clients will jump up into the cab and put a fire hat on and
That's awesome.
have somebody take some photos for Instagram to send to the kids. So it's a really cool place that just fosters and encourages creativity and collaboration.
We talked about this a little bit earlier offline, and it's really a lot of production is really about the people, and I think the team, and that's why, you have all the tech here. It's great, and it's some of the best tech around, but I think people probably come back more so for also the people, because that's how our productions are with our production company. It's like people want to deal with us.
Yeah.
They want to work with us. And I think a lot of people overlook that. They overlook, like, it's really about the people.
You hit the nail on the head. Just to back up for a bit, anybody with a couple mil burning a hole in their pocket can build the wall.
Yeah.
Can buy the servers and the hardware and the software. But unless you have the right people
Right.
who know how to design the environments, the right lighting technicians and directors of photography and robot operators who know how to like to, cheat the scene between practical and virtual, which is not easy to do. And very few people in the entire country know how to do it well. Unless you have that combination of technology and people, all you have is a big TV. And you may as well just invite people over to play video games
Right.
on it or watch the Patriots on Sunday.
Yeah.
That human element, that artistry element is crucial. And not all virtual production studios have that.
Right.
And we do, which is a source of pride.
Yeah.
And just as evidence for client experience, Studio Lab is the only creative studio that I know of that if you're not 100% satisfied, client's not 100% satisfied with the product and the experience, the Studio Lab will refund that investment. So that A, shows confidence.
Right.
And, B, kind of sets the table for expectations. If you're working here, you're going to get quality product, guaranteed. And I'll say in the 3 years that I've been here, we haven't even come close to
That's
having
awesome.
to have those conversations. The experiences have gone as well as can be expected, given our emphasis on pre-production and approvals up front. We've built a really dynamic, collaborative environment. That everybody who's worked up here has been very happy with, and have come. There's a lot of people who come back.
Yeah.
Which is what you want in a creative business, a collaborative business.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard about it so many times from people I work with, clients. I've heard about Studio Lab. I've never been here. So I finally got the chance to come, which is awesome. And this is great to be here for this. One last thing that I would love to touch on is if you weren't doing all of this, you said maybe you'd be a stonemason. Why would you be a stonemason?
So my my grandfather and my father's side came over from Scotland, and his father was a stonemason, built stone walls, and it just appeals to me from a creative perspective.
Yeah.
Right? You got a big pile of rocks, you've got a lot of yard or some sort of landscaping template, and through tools and imagination and vision and patience, you're going to take that big pile of rocks and you're going to through trial and error fit them into a gorgeous landscaped wall. And it for some reason it just really appeals to
Maybe it's the problem solving, which is also like a creative thing.
yeah, and like puzzles and
Yeah,
shapes and
because you have like a
puzzles
pile of
and-
rocks and you need to make something that
Yeah.
looks nice.
and being able to walk away and say, I did that,
Yeah.
and it's going to last for hopefully 100 years.
Yeah.
So that level of permanence. I forgot I said that. This is
Yeah.
the stonemason
I like
thing.
that.
Yeah.
And the level of permanence. I always think about stuff like that with what we're doing, the worlds we live in. And
Mhm.
we live in a world where everything is online. It's tough to think that all of this is digital and like permanence is not there. Like,
Mhm.
how do you think that you try to leave a creative mark on things that you do, whether it's a project, whether it's teaching people? Because I think everything's so digital. Like, how do you think you add your creative mark on things when you work on projects?
I've worked on a few projects that notable for who I worked with, like Fish.
Yeah.
I did the only music video, sanctioned video that Fish ever did and ever will do.
That's so awesome.
for Fish and Elektra Records. And was the video good? No, but it's on MTV and
Yeah.
it's on YouTube, and within, the Fish community, it's notorious,
Right.
for their beloved homegrown fan sponsored band to have come very close to selling out.
Yeah, they always have, and they haven't.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they had to do a single and they had to do a music video, and their fans just lost their minds.
I can imagine.
So anywho, there's that. But I think, my legacy will be the younger people that I've mentored or have been, the intern coordinator at the agency level, where, we all stand on the shoulder of giants, right? I needed help.
Yeah.
And there were a few amazing people that believed in me,
Yeah.
who saw potential and took a chance, and I've had an amazing, very satisfying, fruitful career. Very, very lucky. So it's incumbent on me to then pay that forward.
Right.
So, if a friend of a friend has a kid who wants to go into film and TV, okay, can Jimmy talk to you?
Yeah.
Both when they're looking at colleges, like where should I go if I want to do this, and this, and then after school, like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
Who this is what I'm interested in. This is what my portfolio is. Where should I, who should I reach out to? And I love doing that.
Yeah.
Because people did that for me, and now it's my turn. So to know that there are kids now, young adults, who have been influenced by what I've done and the help that I've provided them, who are now in the industry and thriving.
Yeah.
That's how I want to be remembered. That's my legacy, is encouraging younger people to not go into a safe job like, accounting,
Exactly.
or, retail, but that, follow their dreams. And
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
You can do it. You're smarter than me. That's, I think, important. And, that's how I want it remembered.
Cool.
So
That's awesome. Well, thanks for having me here. This has been awesome.
yeah, I'll show you around.
Yeah.
I'll
check it out.
Show you the rest of the place. But
Cool.
it's been a pleasure talking with you.
Yeah. This is awesome.
And I definitely want to work together.
You just let me know what the discount is, and I'll sign up.
Cool. Well, look, thank you. Here, let me move
Cool.
this.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It was a pleasure talking with
This
you.
is awesome. Thank you.